I don't want it. Only on Kickstarter.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure, follows a retired soldier turned reporter who is given a coveted interview with a death row inmate. What he learns thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to use his military training to survive being hunted for possessing the information that could topple the city's most powerful ruling class. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
I was sitting all alone in my library chair when I found a book and it gave me a scare. The pages I kept turning, it quite took me in. What was it? Oh, where do I begin? We read the monsters. I read the monsters next door. The monsters. It had short stories galore. The monsters. It's full of horror and gore. The monsters. I read the monsters next door.
"25 seconds to curtain, folks."
It's a Critical Blast podcast. special guest, Dolan Waddick.
And here we are, and here he is. Hi, I am your host, RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com. And Dolan Waddick is not. Dolan, who are you, man?
Well, so people, if they're familiar with me at all, if they're watching, they know I'm on the Thinking Critical channel with Wes.
I'm familiar with Thinking Critical. I pay attention
on the
to all
Comic
the
Fleet
critical
channel, but
channels.
I typically go by Drew. But my pen name when I'm writing comic books is Dolan.
That explains it. I saw the AKA Drew. I'm like, okay, now what do I call him, Dolan or Drew? But yeah, I've watched. I'm a big fan of Wes's channel. I love getting in here. I love watching him and Doc bemoan the state of when he makes Doc read a comic book that Doc didn't want to read, and Doc's all mad.
Oh, that's the best, and like I always bask in that because like I love the fact how I get to read the good stuff. He gets to read the bad stuff. I enjoy it, and I love having Doc suffer.
Yeah, let Doc do it. So, what I'm gonna ask the big question: why comics? I mean, we read them, we love them. Why in the world would you want to make any?
Well, this goes back all the way to grade school for me or kindergarten. I have loved comic books since I was in kindergarten, first grade. I've loved reading them. What's that?
I'm with you right there. I was
Okay,
reading them before
yeah, because
kindergarten.
two of my very first comics I ever had were Adventures of Superman, number 453, and the second one I had was X-Men number 166. It was the X-Men versus the Brood, and I flippin' loved that comic. And the one page panel that sticks out to me is when Wolverine rips off Cyclops' visor, and
I think we're
back
having
in
some
my
microphone
retinas.
issues.
What's that?
We're having some microphone issues here, Dolan.
Oh, is it with me?
Yeah, you dropped out on us a little bit of robot and then some silence.
Ah, damn! Sorry to hear that. Okay, how am I sounding now?
Sounding great. You know what I'll do? I'll take the funny little background off, and we'll just put a solid color up. Maybe that's draining resources on your end. I don't know.
Is it still good?
We're good now.
Okay. So yeah, two of the I'm not sure when you two of my first comics I had were X-Men 166 and Adventures of Superman number 453. 450 Adventures of Superman 453 is a great Jerry Ordway issue when Superman's hallucinating in space and he's hallucinating seeing General Zod, Lex Luthor, and I think Brainiac, and like because he's running out of air. Another one, X-Men 166 is the X-Men versus the Brood, and just the one panel that sticks out to mind is seeing Cyclops, his visor being ripped off by Wolverine, and you see Cyclops' eyes all bugged out because he's been turning into a brood. That's been burned in the back of my retinas ever since then, and I just knew from that point on that I wanted to be involved with comics.
So, did you then go into studying art and trying to draw, or I don't know. I haven't studied the campaign enough to know if you're an artist or a writer, or I see how I didn't say just a writer.
Yeah, you never know. So yeah, I was, my parents would tell you if they were here, they would tell you I've been drawing literally since kindergarten, first grade. I loved drawing, and I was drawing all the way through high school. I was I wish I had my yearbook. I was in the advanced art class in high school. Got to go to Disney World to learn how they did animation, and then life happens. I joined the military. I just started drawing when I had free time, but I was still writing. When I was in high school, I was writing a lot, and I was doing some creative writing in high school, writing stories all the time. I loved it. I always loved both, but as I've gotten older, I've geared more toward the writing as opposed to the drawing. I can still draw, I can still sketch and all that, but it's not as strong as my writing. I see it's like a muscle. It's like the more you do it, the more frequently you do it, the better you get,
Sure.
stronger you get. But it's right now that muscle's pretty weak.
So, but then you've pretty much been preparing your whole life then for drawing comics and creating comics.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I just knew at some point, someday, I would be working in comics. Even in first grade, I distinctly remember our teacher asking everyone in the class. Everyone in the class had to say what they wanted to do when they got older. And some kids wanted to be athletes, doctors, accountants, anesthesiologists, and I'm not kidding when I say this. Like my elementary school. Yeah, oh, there's Tristan, nerd. Um, there were a lot of very smart kids. Like I think the highest, the graduating GPA from my high school was like a 4.7, 4.8, and but I knew I wanted to work in comics, and when I said that, everyone laughed. I've never ever forgotten that. And it's kind of been a chip on my shoulder
And you know
as
what?
I've
You're
gotten
probably the
older.
only one who said what they were going to be that ended up being what they were going to be, except for that anesthesiologist, because she obviously had parents that were driving things, and their did get to become a princess. So dreams do come true, right?
Yeah, eventually she got there.
So what kind of? I mean, obviously you're drawing comics in first grade, second grade. You're just doing what you see. Uh, did you get into any kind of a formal study? I mean, did you start reading the Scott McCloud books or go to the Kubert School or anything like that?
No, I didn't. No, I was just reading a lot of comics, and I ever since I was. Look, this is not me gloating in any way, shape, or form, but I always had a high reading. My it was I had very strong grammatical skills, and my reading
Yeah,
was
you were
off the
talented.
charts. I was I was very talented at it, and like all my mom would always show me like on the state tests we would take how my reading everything was off the charts according to my age bracket. Like I was reading at an eighth grade level in like third grade, fourth grade.
Yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah.
very advanced, and I I loved. I don't know what it was. I just loved writing, and I never took any real formal classes on it until like really kind of high school. And but I didn't really read Scott McCloud's book until I got older. Probably not. I didn't actually read it until probably maybe a couple years ago. I'm 39, so I didn't read it until like I was 37. But but I didn't get to really do my first real professional comic book that was published. Well, actually published work until I was, I think, 32. It was published here in Indiana in a comic book in a day competition when you have to write, illustrate, and a whole comic book story in 24 hours. And
Oh
I
yeah.
was, it's so much fun. And I was writing that, and my friend, she's a professional horse and camel artist, and so she illustrated it. And I just knew as a writer that I'm going to write to my artist strengths. So I'm going to write a story based around horses and camels. And
Let's say, what's a professional camel artist? Is there like Camel Monthly that hires out for this?
all I know is that she goes to the Middle East a lot, and she has a lot of wealthy individuals who pay for camel oil paintings.
Yeah,
So
okay, that's different. Big old oil painting going to be hanging up in some sheikh's vizier's front room. Yeah, okay.
exactly,
Money to be had there.
exactly. Oh,
And,
there
and
is, yes, a lot.
also tells me what kind of horses she's painting too, because
Yeah, they're very beautiful. And so this is the first time, like her real first time, she was like doing it cartoonishly, and so it's pretty funny when you see her professional work compared to this. But we would always win most creative stories. But one year we did win best comic, and I think I'm going to be putting up one of those pages on the campaign here in the next week or so. But yeah, that was when I didn't first publish work for my comic books was when I was 32.
so I was going to ask, how many comics you've made, because here's the campaign that we're talking about. And folks, if you're in the chat, by the way, once this does pique your interest, the link for this is immediately below the video window you're staring at. Just scroll a little bit, click that first link, opens in a whole new window. You'll still get to hear Dolan talk about the work. So be typing in your credit card digits while we're continuing to talk here. But it says here, first created, zero backed. So I'm like, okay, new to the scene. unless this is first created by your team name here, because
Yes. So this is the first work Aurelio and I have done completely independent from any publisher.
okay.
Yeah. So the last 2 years, I've put out over 24 comics.
Well,
um,
you're a veteran.
yes. At this point, it's like I had to do the math, and I was like, oh my god, I put out 2 years of comics in this amount of time. This is ridiculous. Yeah. So I was the writer and creator of the series Born of Blood for Merc Publishing. And I've been writing for Murat Michaels on several projects, including Naughty and Nice, Red Sonja Vampirella meet Naughty and Nice, Battle Fairy and Yeti meet Red Sonja, and I think Merc's Summer Special. I've done some ghost writing on a couple of those projects as well. I'm writing several more that are coming out later this year from Murat Michaels. And right now, Unholy Nightmare. Aurelio was the artist on Born of Blood 5 and 6, and he's been working with Marvel, IDW, and Topps cards for years now. And he said this is working on Born of Blood with me was one of the best experiences he ever had. He wanted to keep working with me. I couldn't believe it. So this is what came about, Unholy Nightmare.
So when I look at the images for this, and I watched the video, or rather read the pages. This looks like a mix of superhero vigilante and supernatural lycanthropy, or whatever she turns into.
Yeah, exactly. And there's going to be a lot more than that. There's just nothing is what it appears to be. It's going to get a lot crazier. But yeah, you're right. I mean, when you open up this when you start reading the comic, when it's done, because we've been funded now, so everyone's going to get it. But it starts off as a typical like superhero busting up a drug ring, busting up a drug exchange, But then as you get to the halfway point, this is when the twist happens. It turns into a horror story. So like one or two of the individuals involved may turn into monsters. There may be a cybernetic ninja assassin involved. There may be some reanimated corpses. Things are not as what they appear. Things are going to make twists and turns.
Got it. So in this universe, is your superhero? Does he know that these things exist? I mean, are they known factors?
Well, no, he does. So the Recluse right there in the top right corner, he's going to be like the main star of the comic book. And Jenny is the she-wolf right there. But according to the Recluse, no, he's what if in Chicago, if Spider-Man became John Wick. And as far as, but we're going to be exposed to something that he's been trying to keep secret, or something that he's tried to forget, that he may be mutating in some way, shape, or form. But by the end of this comic, our heroes, our protagonists, they're going to be exposed to a whole underworld of monsters that they did not know existed.
So this is going to be his exposure then to the world being not what he thought it was. So it's not just the readers who are going to be going through twists and turns. I mean, it's not like, when Batman's fighting somebody and, the thing turns into bags, like, oh, it's a vampire, we have to do this way, because, he's done that before. He's seen it.
Yeah.
This is all going to be new revelations to the characters. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, correct. Yep, for Jenny and the Recluse. And so fortunately we're funded. So we already have it all plotted out, issues 1 through 6. We already know how the first arc is going to go. And so I'm ready to go with issue 2. It's already synopsized. Aaron Sparrow is going to be the editor. He's going to be editing along the way. I'm getting ready. I'm very anxious to start on issue 2. But we wanted to keep, one thing I've learned from reading a lot of books, a lot of comics, that is that a lot of times the creatives put too much into the first issue. They put all the characters, all the plot. It's like, no. Let it breathe. Give us a little bit here and there. Don't tell us everything.
Yeah, give us something, but
yeah, give something, but not a lot. Don't want to bombard the reader. You want to have fun with this too. So that's the point of issue number 1. It's like, I want the reader to have fun with this. I want them to enjoy the art, enjoy the story, but don't have to worry about getting bogged down with all the backstory and everything, and too many characters to remember. So we're going to get some characters here in issue 1. We're going to get some characters in issue 2. We're going to get some more in issue 3. It's going to be spaced out.
So I'm looking at this is the new cover, or is this a variant cover that
Yeah,
Marat here?
yep, that's a new cover we dropped. We dropped from Marat Michaels. That is a character. That's Trinacria. She's going to be showing up in issue 2.
So she's a Gorgon, obviously.
Yes and
Ish.
no.
Gorgon-ish?
Yes and no. She's loose. So Aurelio, the artist, he is from Italy. I believe he's from Sicily. The design of her is loosely based on their flag, and he based this character around the flag. So we kind of made her a. I don't want to spoil who she is, but yeah, she's Aurelia came up with a lot of these characters and like their backgrounds from simple designs, and I've helped flesh out their backstories. Just stay tuned. She is a character, and she's going to play a pivotal role in the plot.
Well, just from her look alone, I have to say she's either been taking a lot of silver nitrate pills, or she's also a monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, she's one of those two. We've nailed it down, folks. Now, this is where we start seeing some of the pages here, and if you wanted to set a grim vigilante story in Gotham City and not get sued for trademark by using Gotham City, Gary, Indiana is definitely the place you would go.
Yeah, because I told you beforehand, before we streamed, that I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I've been up to Chicago, God knows how many times, but I go up there for whether it's Cubs games or go up there for C2E2, and a lot of times, sometimes I've driven through Gary, Indiana, driven by it, and let me tell you, Gary, Indiana is an absolute ghost town. You want to talk about a town that is built up. They have a baseball stadium, buildings, town square, but there's no one there. I've driven through Gary, Indiana, downtown, middle of the day, and there's no one on the streets. It is the most disturbing thing. It's like you're driving through Salem's Lot. And I just remember thinking, you know what? This would be a perfect spot for like a drug deal to go down. So
nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And of course, that is what's happening here on page
one. Yep.
And then we skip 14 pages because
So real quick, these pages on the campaign we're seeing right here, these were all done by hand, and they're all available to purchase the original art.
See, that's the advantage of a physical art medium, folks. You get to sell the pages one more time after the book's done. You can't do that with digital.
Nope.
So obviously the recluse is protective of Jenny. Does he know her, or is he just like, hey, they're hurting some lady? Because he seems like very emotionally involved for it just be random.
You hit the nail on the head. Yes, it's going to be explored in issue 1 how they may or may not be kind of close, and they may know each other before this exchange. And yeah, like you said, he may be protective of her. So I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, they do know each other.
Looking at the recluse, am I seeing some inspiration from and this feels like it was just yesterday, but I know it's ancient history to everyone else. The Darkness.
So that's the first time I've heard the Darkness. The other one I've heard was Nightman from Malibu Comics.
Yeah, well, Nightman's there too, but I was just looking at the hair. But
yeah. So one thing Aurelio and I, we're literally brothers at this point. We talk every single day, and we love horror films. We love 90s comics, specifically Image comics from the 90s. So we really wanted to give this comic a visual Image Comics 1990s vibe, and as well as a strong 80s horror comic vibe. So when you read this, the pages are going to be dynamic, they're going to be explosive, they're going to be action-packed. They're going to feel like you're back in the 90s again.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. I remember Nightman. That was I remember my friend and I talking about it, and we were kind of making fun of the concept because like his whole gig was that he could hear thoughts, but he could only hear evil thoughts. And we were like, well, what's an evil thought that, would project itself? It's like, what if some Islamic guy's walking down the street says, I'm going to have myself a baked BLT sandwich tonight. I'm just going to do it. Do you hear that? Is that something that you feel
Yeah,
compelled
exactly.
to?
Like, what's the extent of it, And to be honest with you, you just reminded me of loosely, it reminded me of a Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken, who is in the dead zone, and he's in this office building, and he's touching people. And he's like, "You're going to get a coffee. It's going to be hot. You're going to burn your tongue." It's like, wait, what? That's it?
Yeah, that's a given. We're all going to do that. So obviously by this page here, which is page 15, she's changed. He's recognized that she's changed, but they're kind of busy right now, and they're just getting shot at by an army of guns here.
Yeah. So we have drug dealers and we have the suppliers. So we got the suppliers with their strange, interesting future like laser guns, which has a very 90s image, very 90s.
Oh yeah. The
It.
X-Men never went up against bullets. Everybody had lasers. That was the other thing we used to joke about. It's like, can you imagine if somebody just pulled out a 38 special and started shooting? We're like, oh my God, he's got bullets, run. He's not I was gonna say, now that she's a monster, he's obviously not having to watch her to make sure she doesn't do too much damage, because he's very comfortable inflicting it himself.
Yes, he is, and we're gonna learn why. We're gonna learn why, how he's how he's kind of gone over the edge. How this. So we learned this is like I said, this is kind of a Spider-Man who's gone over the edge and turned into John Wick as he's gotten older. So something had to have led him down that path, and we're gonna find out what that was.
Yeah, so he's got a level of power beyond normal human, and he's not just a well-trained.
So like Spider-Man, he's got spider-like powers to a degree. Not everything that Spider-Man has, but he's got spider-like powers.
Sure.
And there may be more to it in this issue as well.
If he's going to have spider-like powers, I want the webs to come out of his butt. If you look at some of the covers, we kind of spoil about what's going to happen to him. So okay. I'm just reading more of these pages here. Jenny is fully transformed. Thank God she's got those dresses from Fredericks that don't rip in all the wrong places, so that she stays decent.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. It's they're also known as soap bubble magnets, because the soap bubbles will always congregate there. And yeah, it's okay. So how on a scale of 1 to don't let my kids read this, how violent is this?
Honestly, I really think if you have a 14-year-old kid, they're going to love this, because that's about the age I was when I was reading Image Comics. I really, truly think if you have a son or whatever who's in middle school, they're going to love this.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. Okay. So this isn't Jenny now involved anymore. No. Something has happened here, because those are giant claws ripping through people.
Giant spider legs, if you will.
Oh, they're ripping out of him. Okay. So I get it now. The recluse, the brown recluse. He just didn't call himself the brown recluse, because obviously he couldn't find brown tights, and it would have confused people if he'd wore the gray ones and called himself the brown recluse. So
exactly.
That's one of the rules of superherodom, people. You've got to call yourself something in line with your powers, otherwise the villains don't get it. Which sucks, because you're also kind of giving away what your whole gig is about. But so this is going to have multiple covers, because it's an independent comic, and this is really what people expect these days. Cover A for retail. Is this going to go into stores at some level after the crowdfunder?
Well, next year we'll see what happens. All I gotta say is we're in talks, but we'll see what happens. For right now, it's just going to be on Kickstarter. As far as like stores picking up copies of this, I have done everything I can to contact and reach out to over a dozen shops to see if they'd be willing to carry this. I either get someone at the counter who is probably barely a teenager, has no clue what I'm talking about, or we'll get back with you, or drop me an email, or thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, well, and I've been in the same boat because I distribute a lot of different comics for people who use our distribution service, and I've got them put in stores. And sometimes I go to those stores, and it's been 6 months, and the books are still sitting there. It's like, wow. He's like, yeah, we took a risk, and it's not because the book isn't good, but a lot of the time, what it is that a lot of these independent creators, they're not used to how the business runs, and they look at like 55% discount off the top. No, that's my money.
Yeah.
So they sell it for the regular price, and if a retailer bites at it, well, that retailer's got to bump it up more so that they can make money. Otherwise, they're just they're just doing it for nothing.
Yeah.
And when you price the book so high, it doesn't move as fast. So if you're going to make comics, folks, remember.
It's not. Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, like I said, Aurelio and I, when we started this book, we put in our thousands of dollars to get this made, with the covers and hiring the other creatives on. It's not cheap.
Mike, no, it's not any better than the webs coming out of the armpits. That sucked as well, but it's at least biologically consistent with the source of the powers. That would have been an entirely different rated Spider-Man movie if that would have happened. So yeah, when you did your first comic independently, and I'm not talking about the the one that you won an award for and it was published by somebody else. When you did it yourself, what was the learning curve? Because it's an involved process.
Like when I was with Merck Publishing, that one.
Yeah,
it was. That's where so fortunately with Comics Elite, working under Sean Hudashko, who owns Comics Elite, Merck Publishing, Black Ops Publishing, and everything else. I got to see firsthand what it takes to put together a comic, because he's put together several at this point. So I was kind of following and seeing him along the way, seeing what it takes, it's more or less kind of herding cats. You've got to keep people on point, people on task. You got to constantly remind them, we've got deadlines. This is the drop dead date. This is the time we need it by. And that's been the hardest thing as a publisher for this, reminding the colorists and the letterers, like, hey, this is the date, we need it by now. And that's, I would say that's been the most difficult part, just keeping people on task.
Yeah, and you really got to be careful who you work with and get professionals, which
yes.
is hard because if you're like trying to become professional, you're dealing with people who are trying to become professional, and I suppose you run into quite a few people who are trying but aren't quite ready yet. I hear horror stories all the time where yeah, I paid for 17 pages and then my artist ghosted me and I've never heard from him again. So, yeah.
Yes. Fortunately, for some reason, I have been incredibly lucky from Merck Publishing through now, from Merck to working with Murat Michaels to now, like always working with arguably the best. I mean, I don't want to gloat, but I've been able to work with some of the best letterers, inkers, colorists, as well as pencilers, such as Aurelio Mazzara. Just people that I can trust to turn in their work on time. Like Gabe, who does the colors for this, he's remarkable. Kel, who does the lettering, he's incredible. And I think it's because they know that they can trust me. They know I'm on it when it comes to dates, times, keeping people following up, making sure that people are getting paid. And because I've heard, like you said, fortunately this industry is small enough that word spreads fast. Like, hey, don't trust this guy. Hey, this guy's late. This guy's late. This guy's difficult to deal with. So it's like, okay, I'll avoid them, and I'll get recommended from people by other artists or Murat Michaels. Hey, go with this guy. You can trust him. And it's like, okay. And sure enough, here we are. And these guys have helped us produce an amazing comic. And with the help from Murphy LeDuc, who was with Merck Publishing. She's since left, and she is now the owner and operator of Crowd Control. She's running our campaign on Kickstarter, and she's killed it so far. And I like to think we have like arguably the best team all around in comics working on this.
Yeah, it's been forever since I talked with Murphy. All the way back to Miss Meow and Death Rage #1. So I've been kind of out of the loop on what Merck's been doing lately. I pulled their page up because I wanted to see the title you were talking about, which looks really cool. And of course, there's all these other Miss Meow titles that I've missed out on. I'm like, dang. I need a Christmas bonus check, folks.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just said I need a Christmas bonus check, folks, so I can go out and buy all these comics I missed out on.
Yeah, you need a Reborn of Blood. Yeah, because look, once again, not to toot my own horn, but it's been often been reviewed as the best book from Merck Publishing. So yeah,
very cool. I forgot to keep scrolling down here because you got this is a wraparound cover. For
correct. Yeah. So the Virgin cover is the wrap cover. The trade dress is just that portion of it.
Just the front portion. Yeah. So yeah, I've always loved wraparound covers. Wraparound covers and 4-issue puzzle covers are like my favorite. And weirdly enough, not the 4-issue puzzle covers like X-Men #1, where it's like keeps going longer and longer. My favorite 4-issue puzzle cover was the first 4 issues that introduced Justice League Detroit, because they made a portrait. There was like 2 across, 2 down, and
it did. I don't remember that. I'm going to look that up now. Oh my! I never knew that.
It's pretty cool. It was the first time actually I ever saw any puzzle cover, and it was just discovered by accident because I was 13, and flopping them down on my bed there with the other comics. I'm like, hey, wait, those kind of line up. And I grabbed the other one, like, oh, look what they did.
You just blew my mind. I'm looking this up right now. Wow.
Yeah, it's so I naturally I hung them up on the wall that way. I put them in their bags and put thumbtacks through the bags, and that started off the whole. I must have been 16 because there's a picture in my high school yearbook where they came and took pictures of my room, and I've showed it on stream before. The entire wall of my bedroom was comic books on the wall, and it was like the first 5 issues of the Baxter run on New Teen Titans when they started going to the Baxter press printing. All 12 issues of Secret Wars were up there. I think the 4-issue series of Machine Man with the Barry Windsor Smith covers.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
Oh yeah, it was. If it was portrait worthy, it went up there. First 2 issues of New Teen Titans Annual. So I had my painted Starfire cover and the first appearance of Vigilante. Like, yeah.
Nice.
I was a huge Vigilante fan, and
yeah,
as much as I loved Peacemaker, I hated what they did with Vigilante.
Yeah, I love Vigilante. Like specifically, I mean, I liked what Marv Wolfman did on the series, but to me personally, it didn't hit its true form until Paul Kupperberg took over. That's when I felt like this is the comic I wanted, and that kicked ass. And look, to be perfectly honest with you, I know a lot of people, including Tristan, she loves the Peacemaker show and what they did with the Vigilante. I hated it. As soon as I saw that they turned Vigilante into like a fanboy,
it's a kick-ass.
I was done. I tuned out. Not for me.
Yeah. No, he's a Frank. He was DC's Frank Castle. Combination of Frank Castle and Daredevil, because he was the district attorney.
Yeah, I love that.
And then to see him tortured by his decisions and the things he's doing, and ultimately, spoiler alert, if you read the entire series, blow his brains out.
Yeah, I love it. It's a perfect. It kind of reminded me of Fool Killer from Marvel a little bit, whereas like he knew like he was the last fool and he killed himself. But like I love that ending because it was very fitting and it made sense. There's really no other way to go.
And of course, it made it easy for somebody to pick up the mantle after that.
Yes,
which happened, but it was never the same.
No. Paul Kupperberg is still a brilliant mind when it comes to writing comics like that, and it really is a crime, in my opinion, how that run of his hasn't been collected yet. I know they did a first volume of Marv's stuff, but they got to get Paul's stuff collected.
Yeah. Now there was a bridge in between Marv and Paul where they got some guest writers, because I remember Alan Moore did 2 issues of it in a row.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I've got it in the trade paperback, the Alan Moore, the DC Universe stories. Yeah, it's a good story.
It is. It's like that was the first time. It's like, okay, I'm the guy who goes out and kills people who break the law. I'm totally inured against all the violence I do. Oh my God, is she like locking the front brakes and driving her 4-wheel drive over him? That's terrible, dude. You'd have done the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cover B, there is a second cover. This is the I forgot her name. You told me.
Oh, Trinacria.
That's why I can't remember it, because I haven't read it yet. I'm just hearing it. Trinacria. Now that kind of sounds Greek.
Yeah, so it's Italian. So yeah, there we go.
It's an interesting design because there's nothing other than the front. There's nothing symmetrical about this thing that she's carrying around, which disturbs the eyes. Like, wait a second, it's where's the balance on this? Why is it like that? What is that?
Yeah, and that's what makes it cool. That's what makes it unique and special. Like, it has you wondering what is going on here. That's what I love about Aurelio, because he came up, he designed all these characters. He was sending them to me one after the other, like back in March this year. And I was working on 4 scripts at the time. And he was like, hey, what do you think about this character? What do you think about this? I'm like, okay, they look cool. I don't know what you want me to do with them. They look cool. And then he said, hey, we should do a comic together with these characters as a team. And I was just like, okay, don't say yes. Don't say yes. Just talk to him. Just listen out. Just listen to it. I said, you're busy enough. But the more we talked about it, we started exploring the characters, their backstories and motivations and a plot line. And I'm like, damn it, we got a story here. I can't say no to this at this point. So we just went from there. And she was one of the characters that came out of our little jam sessions.
And you've got a foil variant as well as the virgin variant on this one. It looks like she found some tangled up plumbing pipe and is just carrying it around on her back.
Yeah, the copper piping. Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah. Well, superheroes got to eat.
Yeah.
That was always the other thing that got me about comics later on. I was like, Superman and Peter Parker had jobs, and Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark were millionaires. I'm like, how does Captain America feed himself? We never see him get a paycheck. What's he do?
Well, I think I do know, like, Roger Stern and John Byrne, they more or less kind of and I think Zach, to a point, like, they're showing how he was an artist, like a professional artist, and he was making ends meet by being an artist. But that was kind of used and not used. It was whatever. But that's one thing I remember. It wasn't shown off that.
Yeah, because superheroes, like I said, superheroes got to eat. And,
yeah.
It was interesting seeing how, with Peter Parker and Clark Kent, obviously, getting away from the job was part of doing their job. They could pull that off. But, if you're a pipe fitter and you hear a police report and got to go, you can't just do that. Because, you'd lose that job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what can you do? Just be like, oh, we got to come back tomorrow. Oh, here, just hold this here until I get back. You can't. Yeah. No getting around
Put your
that.
finger on this knot. The Flash was, CSI. Well, guess what? You're going to run to crime scenes anyway, so you're covered.
How convenient.
Yes, exactly. I don't know. This is the stupid stuff I think about that keeps me up. And like, it's like, it's a fictional character, RJ. Don't put so much thought into it, but I have to. Got to make the world make sense. Cover C, Unholy Nightmare. This is where Recluse is shown in all of his glory here.
Or kind of, not all of his glory, but some of it.
starting to. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's got it. Now, I may be wrong here, but it looks like his arm has split into these other 4 arms here.
Or maybe his arms fell off.
Oh, no, don't be arm fall off, boy. But he kept his legs, thankfully, so he doesn't have to. He can still run. He doesn't have to skitter.
At
He doesn't look
this
too happy
this
about it.
point, yeah.
Oh no. Okay. This is the kind of stuff that's coming down the pike, folks. So get in on the ground floor now. So that you know, when it does happen, you're like, what's happened here? Did I miss something? Yeah, you missed issue 1. Get it now, and then you won't be that way. Um, the Virgin cover on this one looks like it's gonna be black and white.
Absolutely. I actually have so when Joe Ball he did this cover, when he sent me the black and whites for this originally, I said, "Holy shit, man, this is beautiful." And I actually bought the original art. I have it up on my wall, and I sent it to Murphy, and she was blown away, and we both kind of agreed like this black and white should be a cover in itself. So we just kind of did a little tweaking here and there, like a minor tweaking on the exposure, and we decided to make the black and white a cover. We're like, we'll make that the Virgin cover, and
Yeah, 'cause unless I'm mistaken, this doesn't even look like it's inked.
it's no, it is inked.
It is inked. Okay.
Yeah.
It just looked like heavy pencils.
Yeah, he did a lot of heavy pencil work on this, and he did some he did a lot of inking after that. But like I said, we did some tweaking a little bit on it, kind of bringing down the inking a little bit. But it's beautiful, and I have it's even more beautiful in person.
Speaking of beautiful, introducing Jenny, getting her cover here.
Yep, Jenny, and done by Jennifer Leonard. She's done a lot of work now with Zenoscope and we're publishing. She's getting a lot more work now, but she was kind enough to do this one for us. I call this me personally. I call it the Animorphs variant.
Oh God, I remember Animorphs.
Yes, and she once again she did this all by hand. I've got the OA right here on my table. We're going to be putting that up on the campaign for people to get. She killed it, and this is it made Jenny look beautiful, and just couldn't say no to it. So, yeah, if anyone wants that cover, the OA, we're gonna have that available as well.
I love getting original artwork. Can't afford it, but I love getting it when I get it.
Yeah, and right here, this is one of the last covers we got before we went live. Aurelio did this, and God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, this is your Arachnid cover, and again, we're seeing a transformed recluse in both the your what do you call it when it's not virgin? Is it the slutty cover? No, it can't
trade
be.
dress.
Trade dress. What's the opposite of virgin, RJ? That's slut, I guess. It's a slut.
Slightly used.
Yeah, there you go. The been around cover, and this is the virgin one without the trade dress on it. I love virgin. I love and don't love virgin covers for different reasons. If it's just a comic for me and it was done for a virgin cover and it's going to go in my box, I'm going to be like, I'm going to have to actually open this book later on when I'm doing inventory because it's one of the things I do. And turn to the front page to find out what number and issue and date and all this stuff is on this virgin cover. But if I'm going to put it on the wall in a frame, then yeah, virgin covers are cool.
Yeah, and this was another one. We had the OA up. We put the OA up of that one up for sale. It sold within the first week, and rightfully so. But yeah, it's just one of the few. It's like this is one of the few campaigns where I'm like, I love almost every cover I'm involved with here. These are amazing, and I couldn't be happier.
You should love every cover because if you don't, then why is it a cover?
Yeah, because the minute I see one, it's like, oh, this is my favorite. But then I remember, oh my God, I also love that one. Oh, but I love that one too. Oh, damn it, I love that one too. Damn.
I thought we already saw this cover, so it's something. What's different about this?
Oh, so that was probably a campaign update when we had that up there. We just because this was I guess week 2 drop that cover by Murat.
Okay. And then we're getting into all the sets now. So I'm not scrolling down the right side of the page here where the tiers actually are. This is where you want to click, folks, after you go to the campaign by clicking the link under the video. You know how to do that. Because it's easier for me to see the big sets over here. So I'm glad they're over here. You can get all the trade dress covers right here. $75 to get. You'll get your now. Okay, when you get your digital. On a thing like this, do you get all 6 of the covers of the digital, or do you just get, do you have just a digital? Is that it?
When you get the digital, it should be you should be able to get the digital the digital images of the covers as well.
Okay. I didn't know how, that was working out with you guys, because sometimes it's like the digital is the digital is the digital. It's funny. I'll be fulfilling orders and I'll be like, this person ordered 5 digitals with the way they put their thing together. Are you really going to send them 5 emails of the same file over and over again? Because that seems
Why
silly.
would they buy that? Okay, that does not make sense to me. Why they would buy 5 digital
Okay, so what it is they go back a tier that comes with a digital, and then they go back later and they back another tier that comes with a digital. So when my software summarizes everything down to a single package, because that's what we do. We don't send out a package for every tier you buy. We accumulate the tiers together and we send out one package with everything in it. Well,
Gotcha.
if the customer has asked me, says, hey, let me know who's ordered digital, I'm like, this guy's ordered 6 of them, because that's how it sums up.
I thought like they were going back and like backing like a different digital copy each time. Like, why in God's name would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. Just buy a physical copy already.
If your friend's running a campaign and it's $10 shy and you've already bought the digital, buy it again. I would, just to put it over the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually because it's being included in another tier and it's getting counted as a shippable item because of the way they created the tier. So I end up seeing it. The Virtue set. Oh, I love that name. This is all the Virgin variants. So everything you just saw above with no trade dress. Go to Amazon, get yourself some. Okay. So here's the thing. I love wraparound covers because the images are so cool. I can't frame a wraparound cover.
Technically, you can. I've done it here in my home. I've got so. BCW, they distribute these clear backer boards you can get.
Yeah.
And they also have these they're not exactly plastic, but they're like a hard shell a completely clear case where you can pop the front, put the comic on the inside, and you can display it that way and just hang it up.
Okay. Do you not have to open the book all the way? So it's
Oh no! Oh! I see what you're talking about.
You got to buy 2 copies of it so you can frame both front and back and put them together as a triptych.
Yes, yeah, you have to do that. Yeah, I forgot about that factor.
But one of the things I always hope for when I see these wraparound covers is like, I hope that wraparound cover is available on a tier somewhere as a print, because.
Well, eventually, because I mean, look, we're funded, yeah, but we want to make enough to start producing the second comic. But after that, then we can start, getting to like all the different tchotchkes. Like if I'll say, I would agree with you. Like if we were at like 20,000 right now, I would say, you know what, we do like mini prints or a print of one of the covers, But like I don't think we've really made enough at this point to really warrant a print yet.
Yeah, and that's good because a lot of first issues, especially if they're a first timer, you love your character. You expect everyone else to love your character as much as you love your character. So you put T-shirts and like we're seeing here, plastic standees and just 3D prints, everything of your character, and then you end up not funding because you focus more on the tchotchkes. You don't have that problem here. You got artwork. You got the plastic standee of an attractive character here, so that's going to go. Obviously, it's going to carry. But it's I've seen too many times people have created a really cool character. They put their really cool character on a T-shirt, and even if the T-shirt looks cool, I look at them like, "This is great. This is cool. You're doing this for marketing purposes?" Yes, of course. I want people to see my character. I'm like, then why didn't you put the character's name on the shirt?
Yeah, makes sense.
Because, imagine you've got the recluse on the front of a T-shirt and you don't say Unholy Nightmare anywhere on it.
Or recluse, or the recluse. Yeah.
Yeah, because if not everybody's going to stop you and say, "Hey, cool shirt. What is that?" And then conversations had, and somebody points you to Kickstarter, and they share phone numbers. No, you're going to walk by somebody like, "That was a really cool character, the Recluse, huh?" I'm going to have to Google that. It looked like a comic book.
Yeah, and honestly, I may do a small print run of t-shirts for mainly for myself.
Yeah,
I'll probably
I
do
do that
one.
all the time.
I'll probably just go through Redbubble, just get them made, and boom, here we go.
Yeah, I go to Sticker Mule. It's like they're always hitting me up with like, hey, we're doing another test run of a T-shirt here, $9 for an extra large. I'm like, okay, here's some artwork. Send me a T-shirt.
Wow,
So
they
I go,
must be. They wish they were hitting me up. Jeez.
oh, go buy something from them one time, and they'll never let you alone. Like,
Oh
hey, we're
wow.
making keychains for like 50 cents in a donut. Okay. I bought so much from Sticker Mule that I didn't need, but I couldn't pass up because it was so cheap.
Nice.
Like, yeah, I need a set of stickers. Send them on. Um, you can get an ink bust sketch from.
From
I'm going to
Aurelio.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, from Aurelio. I was thinking of the characters, but it doesn't look like this is. Is this an Unholy Terror character here, or will he just
No, it was
draw?
just nope, just a random character that he sketched one time. We're just kind of showing that as an example. You can get whatever you want. It doesn't matter who it is. It can be your mom. It could be your dog. It could be the recluse. Just you want an ink bus sketch. Tell them what you want, and boom, $150. You're gonna get the sketch.
Can be limited to 10. Is now I'm the square image here kind of throws me off. What do you know what size this is going to be, or?
If you had asked me last week, I could have told you. I know they're buried. The dimensions are buried somewhere in a
Yeah.
in a message
Hey,
exchange.
is it something that's going to fit in the Gemini mailer?
Yes, it should. Yeah,
Okay. So probably the size of the book, like probably using a backing board.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
are very cool. They're easy to frame. You can get some interior art. You got original pages of this, and there'll be separate tiers. They're not, only because obviously it's not two of the same picture here. Two left. Have they sold? Are they?
They've sold.
Well, then, sorry, folks, you're late to the party.
Yeah, only two left.
So, these are the ones that sold out. So I don't have to scroll past these.
Yeah, we get the opportunity to be drawn into the comic. Those have all sold out, and the original art from Aurelio, his cover art, sold out. Yeah, gone.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the bottom one here? Your worst nightmare. This is a $245 value. You're getting for $200.
You get everything.
This is everything. This is all the virgins,
all the trade dress. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So I was looking for I was looking over here for the sketch and the interior art because I know that.
Oh, I think that when you go to rewards and like when you go to back this project, it's the add-ons. That's what
The great big letters on the top there that okay. That's why I was getting confused. It's reading comprehension. It's fundamental, RJ. Very cool. All right, so you said this is a 6-issue arc. Is this 6 issues and we're done, or do you foresee a world building happening in this?
Oh, trust me. After we got the first 6 issues plotted out, I immediately started working on the second arc. So I have an overall synopsis for the second arc, who the bad guys are, what's going to happen, and we also Aurelio and I have an idea for the third arc as well. But trust me, we have stories we want to tell, and but the cool thing that's going to happen after issue 1 is that when we get through issues 2 through 6, the plan is to be bringing on a couple other teams to help us tell some backstories in the back of the comic, like the origin stories of some of the characters. So we're going to have maybe a different artist and writer tell some of those 10 to 12 page backstories in each of the issues. Yeah. And just stuff that you're going to want to read, you're going to want to know about the characters. And some are going to be heartbreaking stories, but they're stories that I cannot wait to get published, to get drawn up, because they are going to blow people's minds. And this is something I really truly hope, this series itself, that I hope once it's fulfilled, once it gets out there, I really truly hope the people who back this show these books to their comic book shops and tell them, hey, pick this up. You guys should be ordering this. Why didn't you order this?
Yeah. Now, as an indie creator using crowdfunding, and having a series, a 6-issue series. How do you keep? First of all, how do you keep the interest between issues? Because it's crowdfunding, and it's you're the company, the whole company, and it takes a while. And secondly, how do you keep your own interest? Because you're a creative person, which means, like me, you're going to have a certain level of ODD and, oh, look, there's a squirrel, uh, with other projects that pop up that you're like, I got to make this and I got to make that comic, which is also okay because every other comic book company doesn't just publish one title. Um, so, you want to keep the thing coming consistently where people are interested, but you also want to be able to have the ability to branch out and do other titles in between issues of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, right now I'm already working on at least 3 to 4 right now, and they're in different phases. This is just one of my babies right now I'm working on. And this is the first, and this is my favorite baby. I'm playing favorites. But you're right. When you're working on several, you got to make sure you keep it being on YouTube and understanding how it works. Like, I know that I have to constantly remind myself, hey, I have to get out there. I have to constantly be out there. I have to constantly be showing this stuff off. I have to constantly be doing updates. I have to be constantly promoting it. There's no stopping. You cannot stop. The minute you stop, that's the minute interest starts to die. And I have to keep showing this off every chance that I get to build that interest. And I have to keep
once you stop, inertia settles in so hard, and it's so hard to get moving again. It's because you've stopped, you've rested, and you're like, oh, I got to get back up and moving. No, keep moving. It's easier to keep moving than it is to stop and start up again.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why the next calendar year, I'm planning on, constantly promoting every day, every week on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. If I got the money, I'll do it through Google Ads as well. Just constantly reminding people about the series, regardless if it's funded or not, to get them ready for the second issue, which will hopefully be launching next Halloween, if not sooner. But we'll see what happens, because there's some stuff may come up, may happen next year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, in terms of getting out there in front of people, we're glad and honored that you reached out to us to use our network. I don't remember the number we started with. I'm going to say it's probably the same number we've got now, because I never help anybody.
Actually, I think we went up $5. So hey, that's a win. I consider that a win.
That's what I want to hear. I love when the chat gets in there and helps out. And it could have been anybody, but if it's during our show, we're going to credit the chat. Just seems like the thing to do. But we're glad you reached out and came on and talked with us. This has been interesting, and I appreciate having the opportunity to talk with you, and I hope that I get to do it again with your future projects.
Likewise, and I thank you for responding and letting me share this time with you, and really discuss the campaign with you. And I hope the viewers who are watching now or afterwards, I really hope I've convinced them to check this out and hopefully eventually back it.
So folks, if you like superhero and you like horror and you're thinking, wow, that would be really great in the same book, this is the book you want to check out. Hit the link below the video. Even if you're not live watching this, the link's still down there. So click it and go to the campaign. You've got 16 days from the time of this broadcast for it to be still active for you. So, if you're watching it right now and it's still active and you're like, oh, I don't have money. If you don't have the money, at very least, click the remind me button. So that it pops up in your emails and says, hey, you wanted this. And you're like, oh, yeah, I do want that. And then you can go back and buy it later. Trust me, relying on your own memory becomes less reliable the older you get.
Yeah, that's true.
What was I saying? Oh, wait, never mind. And speaking of you folks in the chat here, we do appreciate you guys showing up and watching our programs here. We don't have a show without you guys. We're just a podcast falling in the woods otherwise. So we're glad you're here. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, everybody.